This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com with Piper assisting me today for my weekly review of the information I find interesting in Dave Meltzer's Wrestling Observer newsletter. There's a lot more information in it that I don't find interesting. So if you want to know it all, buy it. In WWE news, they sold more than 75,000 total tickets at the highest prices of any wrestling show in history for WrestleMania this year, which is going to be 2 days, April 2nd and April 3rd, at AT&T Stadium in Irving, Texas. Of course, Irving, Texas, December 11th, World Class Pro Wrestling is also coming there to Southern Junction with Mick Foley. But not to digress too much, apparently that is by far the most tickets the company has ever sold for a single event in its first days. So at press time, there's about 37,500 tickets out for each night, according to the Observer here. Apparently, WWE in 2021 has released a total of 80 wrestlers. I actually don't think that's too bad, considering we're November. And other than a handful of them, a lot of these guys aren't really that surprising to be released. And they are extremely profitable, so they can do whatever they want to stay profitable. I do disagree with them releasing John Morrison, though, who I guess is 42. Hasn't been used for a while, I guess, since The Miz went on Dancing with the Stars. Hadn't really been used well either since he returned. And his wife, Frankie Monette, a.k.a. Taya Valkyrie, was let go just a little while after they moved from L.A. to Orlando, which adds a bit of insult to injury because they had to move at the request of WWE, only to release them both. And Taya, I guess, went on social media and said, quote, "Stop supporting a company that has zero respect for their talent. You love pro wrestling. Spend your money on the hundreds of other alternatives. This is wrong. Ethically, as employers, they don't care about us, talents, or fans. F-U-C-K them." End quote. Actually, it wasn't UCK, it was F and a bunch of stars. But I assume, I don't know what else you could spell with F in 3 letters. And to be frank, I consumed some THC drops before doing this. So I'm not the sharpest mind right now. Drake Maverick was also cut. He's 38, so they're getting rid of some of the older guys. Of course, he hadn't really done much since he'd been brought back. He had been cut a year or so ago. Then he put out a video crying, and then they brought him back, but didn't really do anything with him. The most impressive thing about him is he's married to Renee Michelle. WWE is moving its operations about 2 miles away from their Titan Towers long-term headquarters to a new building. I guess they're expecting this to happen late next year. The November 12th SmackDown in Norfolk, Virginia had 5,400 paid. The November 15th Raw in Indianapolis had 4,700 paid, which Meltzer brings up was almost identical to Dynamite that had 4,800 in that same building only 5 days earlier. AEW's Full Gear pay-per-view at the Target Center in Minneapolis did about 10,500 fans. It could have held just over 13,000 with the setup they had. They did about $150,000 in their movie theater business, or approximately, let me see here, Oh, they compare it to SummerSlam. SummerSlam only did 125,000. So, yeah, not great numbers for people going to see wrestling in movie theaters. I didn't even know that they still did that. WWE issued a statement in response to Keith Lee claiming that he paid all of his own medical bills related to his heart problems after his battle with COVID. The WWE stated, quote, Keith Lee's recent comments implying WWE failed to pay his medical bills are erroneous. WWE has an extensive healthcare program for the medical care of its in-ring performers. Mr. Lee was part of this program well with the company. Should Mr. Lee have any concerns over the payment of medical bills, he is welcome to address them with WWE, end quote. So there you go. Apparently, the November 12th Rampage and Dark tapings in Minneapolis had 5,700 paid for AEW. And as I just mentioned, in their Dynamite show had 4,800 in Norfolk. This past week, the median age of viewers was 62 years old for NXT, 61 for Impact, 55 for SmackDown, 55 for Raw, 49 for Rampage, and 48 for Dynamite. So it's safe to say that younger people are not watching wrestling. It's mostly the people that grew up with it when it was good and popular, and they're like still watching it and following it like me because it was popular in their childhood. So they have that natural interest in it. Dynamite did a 0.37 rating this week. NXT did its lowest rating in history, 0.11. Raw did a 0.42. Rampage did a 0.16, which you can't really say. I don't know if CM Punk was on that Rampage. I forget. But 0.16 is not a good rating. The CFL's Hamilton Tiger Cats are going to be wearing a sticker on the back of their helmet for number 68, Angelo Mosca, the rest of the season. Bobby Fulton, who I've done an interview with, underwent throat surgery on November 15th. He's been battling cancer for a while now and is 61. Rob Van Dam, who I've also done an interview with, 50 years old, and Katie Forbes, 30, were married on November 11th in Las Vegas. 20 years younger. No wonder he looks so happy. The story of the disappearance of the Samantha Fiddler, former independent wrestler and the girlfriend at one time of Teddy Hart, was back in the news in Tampa this week because it's the 5th anniversary of the last time anyone has seen her. Fiddler had messaged her sister just before she went missing that she'd be returning home to Calgary. Obviously never did. She was also a mother of 3. Well, nobody has said so. Apparently, RSN that Sinclair purchased from Fox may have played a part in the Ring of Honor situation, why they're shutting it down. Because apparently RSN is debt ridden. I'm not sure what RSN is, but I guess Sinclair purchased it. Meltzer says the keys to the death of Ring of Honor are a combination of NXT competing against them for match quality when they were starting off, then AEW taking a lot of their top talent, and they were having problems drawing. Then the pandemic came, and they lost all the little momentum they had. Then they started taping television in empty buildings. And Meltzer believes that probably has something to do with the difficulty they were having selling tickets. And he also brings up that some of the Ring of Honor talent, like PCO, for instance, had big contracts. So the economics of Ring of Honor probably weren't that great to keep it going. UFC says the owner of UFC Endeavor released its third quarter report this past week, and this was the best 9 months financially so far in the history of UFC. And they expect their total revenues to be between 4.89 and 4.95 billion this year. So lots of news, none of it really that interesting to me this week. I'll get into some of your questions. I don't mind him overall, but I definitely don't agree with him, boss. I wouldn't agree with him in his wrestling tastes. Dave, I agree. They have way too many wrestlers hired. But have a great weekend.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates.